What is up, guys? Welcome to a new video. Yesterday we looked at the best ADs right now, and there were a lot of comments asking for other roles, so I thought we'd take a look at mid lane today. There are so many good mid laners right now, so what I've done is I've tried to pick ones that are the best solo carrying games, and in theory they're going to climb the ladder a little bit quicker. They don't really depend on their team. So number one, the best one is going to be LeBlanc. She's one of the champions I personally try to ban every single game right now. She's so strong and also very hard to shut down or kind of like play around, in my opinion. She's really good at the push and roam style of play, which is probably the easiest way to carry a game right now. You control your lane while you win another, which sounds really easy, right? Mid lane is the center of the map. It's the most influence in theory and also the strongest mid game really with their abilities, and that's what we want to abuse more than anything. You have the ability to one-shot, which means even with the worst team, you can turn the game into a 5v4 for your team if you play it correctly. It's hard to be ganked with your W, but you can crush your lane super easy. If you're a better player than your opponent, it's really going to show, and I think that's a really good thing. The biggest problem with LeBlanc is you're super squish. If you mess up or you take any damage, you get hit by any kind of crowd control, you're probably going to die straight away. She's number one though because she can hard carry games, but she can also throw them herself. So she's like high risk, high reward. Number two is going to be the new kid on the block, Corki, who is legit taking a dump on every single elo at the moment. This guy does so much damage, and he also has a decent late game now. So Corki is about 60% magic damage and 40% AD. Even though you're going to build AD, it still works like that. Your abilities increase with AD, they do more damage, but they deal magic damage. Late game, you can't really build a Void Staff and a Last Whisper really, so it's hard to get through armor and magic resist. Right now though, tanks are not as popular and games are faster, so both of these are massively better for him. They're making him better anyway. No tank means no penetration problems at I should not have said that. In quicker games means even with tanks they can't get too much magic resist and armor together. Your package means you can roam really well, same as LeBlanc. You push and you roam, you have a big map impact, plus that thing does so much damage. Your ultimate rockets really hurt as well. The big ones, every 3 rockets, has a 150% AD ratio and 240 base damage. That is ridiculous. You have to remember you are still an AD carry though, getting up against all these assassins, so that can be kind of a bad thing. If you get caught, you're going to get screwed, and also tanks late games suck for you. Honestly though, your damage is nuts and you can hard carry easy with this guy. Even if your team isn't very good, you can still do it. So number 3 is going to be Katarina, another champion I think is a good idea to ban right now. Actually, the gunblade nerfs helps a little bit, but even so, she is a monster. Now she isn't going to show up on any stat websites as much because some people are very good on her and some absolutely suck, which is why I kind of wanted to talk about her more. It does take some level of skill I think, but as soon as you have the basics down, it's very easy to stomp people. Nobody gets the dagger system that much right now. She's going to jump over and over, right? You never know if she's actually out of a cooldown or not. It's hard to predict and outplay something when you don't understand it properly. She is very good at roaming around and using her crazy damage. Even with just a few items, she can one-shot people in an instant. It's ridiculous. This is one of the picks where I think people are forgetting how good she is because of how much she is banned or how many bad players that are playing Katarina. I haven't seen one for about a week actually, but she is still nuts. I especially like her for this video though because of how much she can roam and impact team fights on her own. She does not need her team to do that much. It is a bit more skill involved than others though, in my opinion, like the right time to go into fights, the right dagger use and stuff like that, but you can be really effective. So number 4 is going to be Jace, the lethality abusing little bugger right now, but he is super strong, and that's leaked over into mid lane from top lane. You have really good damage early into the game with lethality because basically it means that all base armor and armor from runes is non-existent. That's what makes them so deadly. The difference between him and other AD champions, he has the upfront burst jumping in more than before actually, in my opinion, but also has a long range poke as well. Especially mid game, that is very hard to deal with. It's hard to engage when you're getting chunked like half your health with 1 Q. In career right now, he is the best early win rate mid lane. If he gets a lead 1v1, then he moves that into the other lanes. You put an AD carry against a Ghost by Jace, and I think we know who is going to win that one. Late game, he is not amazing, but it's more about the snowball than anything else. In a high-low tier list, I don't think I would actually have put him here, honestly, but for solo queue, he is super good. You get a lead, and he can use that lead to win the game. That makes solo queue much easier. You do have these late game issues, as we said. You're not really as good anymore. Lethality kind of runs off a little bit. You're also AD, so if you have an AD jungle on top lane, that's really bad. If you get behind, you aren't going to be the best ever, but it's more of these picks where you get ahead like an assassin. You kind of one-shot people jumping in. You also have that poke there. So number 5, again, this is based on carrying a solo queue game. We're going to look at Zed. There are so many other good ones who could be at number 5, but I think Zed should be here this patch. Zed can be useless, but he can also just hard carry a game if he gets ahead right now with lethality. He hasn't been around for a long time, to be honest, and people have forgotten how strong he is when he gets a lead. You have a decent lane phase and your 1v1 potential is great. You shadow, you ult forward, and it's a very easy kill. If you reach that point where you can do that, it's basically over for the enemy mid laner. Your roaming is really good. You can push and easily dive as well with your ultimate ultimate to get back out of it. Bot lane is a very easy target, sadly. Lethality gives him a much bigger, earlier power spike than before. Now, it's hard to deal with that much damage that early into the game when he's also that slippery and dodging everything. Mid to late, you can run around, you can find people alone. It's one of those things where you can solo carry a game if you focus on getting ahead early and you're proactive with it. You actually move around the map and try and use your lead and kill stuff early into the game. The biggest downside is not actually about Zed, it's about Lulu. Lulu is getting more popular and she's the natural cock blocker for Zed. So it actually might make him worse because she's being played more in the future. We'll have to see. Now, those are going to be my top 5 for hard carrying games, but we're also going to look at 4 other honorable mentions. Yesterday, I actually cut out one of them, so I said 3 and I only talked about 2, but we're actually going to go for all 4. So the first one is the other assassin, Talon. He could be here instead of like Jace or Zed. Really, he's risen up this patch massively, but we're going to have to see if he survives in future or not. He is really strong with lethality and basically an easier version of Zed, to be honest. His roaming is nuts though, honestly. You avoid wards by ignoring walls exist. Xerath is probably the best poke champion at the moment. He could basically 1v5 if you get fed enough, which isn't even that hard. It makes engaging really hard on him as well because he's going to chunk out half your health before a fight even starts. This is actually one pick where even if your team is complete dog poo, you can actually still carry them. You don't even have to fight, you sit back and you just poke. But unfortunately, Ryze does not have that luxury. He is one of the hardest champions to play effectively, I think, but he is one of the best still. A good Ryze is really hard to beat. He does so much damage pretty early into the game as well. He's kind of tanky-ish and has a shield and even move speed. He's not as face roll as these. He's not as reliable. He kind of needs his team to engage so he can follow up after it, but he's still a real hard carry. Ori is the last one because she is still the ultimate solo queue champion, honestly. High burst, plays like an assassin and a mage at the same time. You have your ultimate to stay safe or to gank from super far away. You just ignore wards, pretend they don't exist and ult through them. You have a heal, you have wave clear, the charm. You're just so well rounded and still really good. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know a lot of you will have different picks, but I wanted to try and offer some that aren't as obvious, just specifically here because they can hard carry games even with terrible teams. Anyway, thank you for watching this video, and for now, let's go to the robots.